Hi, I'm Dan Cortopassi, and today I'm reviewing an HO scale 60-foot PS-1 boxcar from InterMountain. My model is decorated in the Grand Trunk Western blue scheme. I got my car as a review sample from Mike's Trains in Thomasville, North Carolina. The MSRP on the InterMountain website is $42.95. The price sticker on the box from Mike's Trains is $39. We'll start the model at 100 possible points. The car comes in a cardboard box with a clear plastic window on top. Inside, a two-piece plastic cradle protects the model. One of the air hoses on my car is broken, so I'm taking 5 points. Despite the minor damage, this is a good box that should protect the model for storage and transport. In the 1960s, demand from the auto industry led to the production of new 60-foot boxcars intended to haul auto parts. Cars like this could be found throughout North America. Later in their careers, many of these boxcars were used for other types of loads, including appliances and paper goods. I wasn't able to find a photo of this particular car, but I found several photos online of Grand Trunk Western boxcars with close numbers. Overall, the model looks to be a fairly close match. The ends, doors, and roof panels look to be a good match for the real thing. The most noticeable thing that's incorrect is the design of the lower sill near the trucks. Also, the placement of the weld seams on the sides is not quite a match for the real cars. Two of the photos I found showed these GTW cars with journal box trucks, while another has roller bearing trucks as on the model. Since these cars were built in the 1960s, it's likely that they originally had journal box trucks and these were later swapped for roller bearing trucks. I'm guessing that the model would be close enough for many people, but there are models in this price range that are more accurate, so I'm taking 5 points. The paint on the car is thin and opaque. The lettering is crisp and the small stencils are legible with magnification. Unlike some previous versions of this car, the doors are not openable. The tack boards on the doors are separately applied. Near the ends, the ladders are separately applied parts with delicate rungs. There are delicate stirrup steps at the corners, though these are plastic and look fragile. On the ends, the car has more separately applied ladders, tack boards, and air hoses. The crossover platforms are solid plastic, not see-through. The model also lacks uncoupling levers. Other models in this price range have those things, so I'm taking 5 points. Up top, the roof has good panel detail. Underneath, the model has a detailed frame and freestanding brake components. The trucks have metal wheels with the standard RP25 tread profile. The end caps don't rotate. The car has metal Kadee or similar knuckle couplers on both ends. Looking for a match on the horizontal center line, the coupler on the A end is high, so I'm taking 5 points. The coupler on the B end is also high. All the wheels are engaged according to the NMRA standards gauge. The car wobbles a little, meaning that the body keeps shaking after the wheels have settled onto the track. This can make the car shimmy in an unrealistic way when running, so I'm taking 5 points. The car weighs 5.4 ounces, which is close to the NMRA recommended weight of 5.25 ounces for a car of this length. The car is very free-rolling. Dealing with the couplers on this car is going to be a little difficult because it doesn't have the typical screw-on draft gearbox lid. Instead, the draft gearbox is part of the underbody frame structure. I'll start by removing the trucks. The next step is a pain because the parts are glued. I'm going to gently pry the car frame away from the body. Sometimes the phrase "they don't make them the way they used to" is a good thing. I remember when a lot of cars were designed this way and it was awful. To avoid breaking things, I'm not going to take the frame out entirely. I'm just moving it enough so that I can pry up the draft gearbox lid, which is on top. The lid is firmly stuck on one side, but I opened it up just enough to remove the coupler and spring. Unfortunately, the spring got destroyed in the process. There's no way I could show this on camera, but I managed to wrestle a Kadee 158 whisker coupler into the draft gearbox. Since changing the couplers is my preference, I'm not going to take any points here, but I don't think any model should be made like this. The couplers should be relatively easy to change. Lowering the car is going to require removing material from somewhere. There isn't a lot of material to work with on the trucks. The car bolsters are thicker, but there's a slight raised area around the screw hole that's going to be obliterated if I file them. Unfortunately, I don't really see an option. I don't think it should affect things too badly. I ended up having to remove quite a bit of material, around 40 thousandths, to get the couplers to the correct height. I fixed the wobble by tightening the truck screw on one end so that the truck can swivel but not rock. The other end should be left a little looser. I don't know of any commercial brake hoses that match the shape of the one on the car, so I'm going to make my own from some 19 thousandths brass wire. Using the intact brake hose on the car as a pattern, I'll bend the wire close to the same shape. I'll crush the end with pliers to simulate the glad hand. I'm using an X-Acto number 17 chisel blade to remove the broken hose from the side of the draft gearbox. Now I'll drill a small hole in the underside of the car right next to the center part of the frame. I made one more bend in the wire before cutting it. That end goes into the hole and I can secure the new brass hose with CA. I'm hoping that having one end stick into the car body will make this part less likely to fall off. All that's left is to paint it. This is not quite as detailed as a commercial part, but I think it turned out pretty well and didn't take long to make. I remember, I don't know if I still have it, but at some point I had another boxcar, I think it might have been by Athearn, where you had to take the entire underside apart to be able to change the couplers. And I'm really glad that manufacturers have gotten away from that kind of thing. The design of this car, as you saw, made it really difficult to do that. And you know, couplers are the kind of thing that, you know, usually they're fine, but, you know, they can break. And it's really good if you can maintain them and, you know, change them if you need to, because this is really not too practical to do that on this car. So that's the main thing that gives me pause with this particular model. Otherwise, you know, the other things about it I can either live with or fix. So if you're thinking about one of these, I just would keep that in mind. Let's see what we've got. The car had a broken air hose, so I took 5 points in the packaging category. Though the body style is correct for some 60-foot PS-1 boxcars, it's not a perfect match for the Grand Trunk Western versions of these cars, so I took 5 points in the prototype accuracy category. The model lacks some details that other models in the same price range have, so I took 5 points in the paint and detail category. The car had 2 high couplers and it wobbled, so I took 15 points in the standards and operation category. That leaves us with 70 out of 100 possible points, which earns a C-. This is a detailed and good-looking model, though I would recommend considering how important the detail and accuracy issues are to you, as well as the design of the draft gear boxes before purchasing it. I'm giving it a yellow signal. The tooling for this car is definitely showing its age, but it's still a pretty good model overall. If you like this video, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned and thanks for watching.